We met each other in the Army years ago. We had known each other for some time, and in 2019 we got mobilized to Texas following a divorce I had, and through our mobilization and getting to know each other and everything, we became closer and closer, and we got married soon after that, 13 months in Texas. What really brought us to the church is Michael was looking for a place, and Debbie Gunning brought him to Vacation Bible School back in 2019, and he loved it from there, and he found people that he could connect with, and people that made him feel valid. And so because the church changed him so much, it brought us to this church because we wanted him to continue to have that in his life.
So Michael is actually my child, and my Aunt Debbie did bring him to VBS in 2019, and while he was here, he really had a bond with the youth pastor, Cody, and Cody's wife, Robin, and Robin's sister, Faith, and they just really kind of embraced him and shown him a lot of love. And then when I got mobilized, they really stepped up those 13 months to just ensure that, you know, anything he needed while I was gone, they were there and being really supportive. So it meant a lot to us that they were so open and loving that, you know, we also decided that this is the church that we want to be with because they're pretty much family.
Well, I was raised Christian my entire childhood and everything, and then when I got into my last marriage, they were Catholic, and that completely threw me off of God, actually. So like everything, the ritualism, and the hypocrisy within the Catholic Church just really turned me away from organized religion. I still had God, I was still a faithful person, but the organization I felt I didn't need. If you look at Matthew, you know, where 3 or more of you gather, then there I am. So that's how I felt. I felt, you know, I can do this on my own. But in growing through this church, I found out that it's way more than just me and what my spiritual journey is. And so even, not that I don't, but even if I weren't to get anything from Shively Christian, things that I hear that other people get from me just being here, I think is God's purpose in life for me. And that has opened many doors and got me out of my introverted shell quite a bit.
So I grew up Catholic, and I went to, obviously I went to Mass, and then on my dad's side they were Baptist. So a lot of my weeks look like, you know, youth group on Wednesdays, Mass on Thursdays, Mass again on Saturdays, and church on Sundays. And, you know, I never really, I guess, growing up, completely understood or felt like I belonged, especially on the Catholic side, just because I felt it was very judgmental. And then when I deployed to Iraq, which is in the Middle East, I kind of had I guess I would say, I always tell people I made my peace with God while I was there, walking on his land. But I never really, I kind of fell out of going to church just because I never felt welcome, or I felt, you know, at that time I was a single mom, and, you know, I was a veteran, and I was a little rough around the edges, and just the whole being accepted in other churches, it was always felt like I was an outsider until I came here to Shively. And walking in here is like, I don't know, they're so welcoming, and they don't care about your past, and they're here just to love on you. And they didn't care when me and Michael first started going here. I was, you know, a single mom before me and Wesley got together. So, and they just embraced Michael, and they of course embraced me, and it just really felt like I belonged. And they were more concerned and more worried about our relationship with God and our future than what had happened to us in the past.
Shively, you can, first off, you know, they preach from the Bible. It's whatever the word of the Bible says, right? And so they don't try and put their own twist on it. They don't have extemporaneous rituals. You know, they don't just go out of their way in order to make everything more difficult than it needs to be. I mean, you're given an instruction manual for many things in your life. They hold the instruction manual in their hands every Sunday, and they just preach from that. If you don't know an answer, it's okay to say you don't know. Look in the instruction manual, and that's how it feels here. It's not judgmental. And, you know, Christ called forth the dredges of the world to come be his apostles, and Shively is willing to do that as well. I've seen numerous things around here where people had no money, no anything, nothing to contribute to the church, but being a child of God, and Shively welcomed with open arms.
just to be on that, they also help you. Like, you can walk in here and you might not know anything about the Bible or about God. And individuals in the church, church members, will take the time to teach you, and they don't make you feel like you're ignorant or you're stupid because you don't know a Bible verse. They just help you learn what you want to learn and what you need to learn, and they don't do it by belittling you or anything. They, like he said, it's very non-judgmental and welcoming, and yeah, that's it.
No, so we come from a very large group because we have a whole lot of children, right? And they're all teenage boys except for one young girl, and basically anything the church needs. But we've been on planning for many events like the cookout, the trunk or treat. I've done repairs. Essentially, the smallest things. If they need garbage picked up, next Sunday we're coming to cut the weeds back and cut all the plants back. The Sunday after that, we're cleaning the entire sanctuary in order that we can decorate for Christmas. So it's not a compulsory thing. That's the beautiful part of it. If we weren't to show up next Sunday, they would still welcome us and love us. That's the biggest thing about it, is nothing is compulsory. It's all volunteer. Now, does that leave some gaps sometimes? Sure, but we're working on that.
I too do anything that Cody, Mike, or Melissa asked me to do. So I also am in a women's study group here, and then like he said, we do have a lot of children, so we try to do things with the youth group when available, and then just our kids. Like, one of our boys works on the tech team. Our other boys are always willing to help out and clean up around the church, anything they need, whether it's cleaning or organizing an event, or just helping out at an event, or cooking hot dogs, or making red snow cones. And then, of course, the basketball league's coming up, and I'm big into having the elementary school basketball league. I think it's really a great opportunity to reach out to a lot of children in the community and just love on them and teach them a little bit about basketball and teach them a lot about Jesus.
Shively Christian should definitely be your church home, where you're looking for, because they'll welcome you with open arms. They'll welcome you with any faults that you may have, and not pass judgment. They're willing to help, and the biggest thing that I see about Shively Christian is that they're willing to help that one person at a time. They're not trying to be one of these giant mega churches that's breaking everything in. They're here, if they affect one person per day or get 40 baptisms per year, they're satisfied. If they get one a year, they're satisfied, because it's amazing. But they're satisfied just to spread the gospel and to bring people into the fold, and they're not looking for anything in return. They appreciate it, but they're not looking for anything in return.
The thing about Shively is that even if you've had a past experience, especially Shively Christian now, where you've gone into a church and you didn't feel like you belonged, or it just wasn't your place, or anything like that, when you walk through these doors, you have people out in the parking lot greeting you and welcoming you and saying they're so glad to see you today. And then as soon as you walk into the welcome center, they're making sure you know where you go. And a lot of times you'll hear, "I love you," and you might not even know the person, and they're just telling you that they love you, because they do deep down. They love everybody. And then you walk in and you get to hear from you get to hear the preachers preaching from the Bible, and not really adding anything that is extra, and it's just the truth. And then afterwards, they want to include you in everything, and they want to make you feel welcome. And just your average, everyday people come here, and it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you have a bad past, if you're an addict, if you're a widow, if you're a single mom, if you're a single dad. It doesn't matter, and they just love you anyways. And that's one great thing about Shively, is that. And then our goal is winning people to Christ and helping them grow. So and they really mean that. They really, really, truly mean that.